Let's find out. There was an error. Please try again. There was a network error, please. Oh. Somebody's on my things. Sound test done. All right, we're looking good. We're looking good. Fantastic. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fraser Blades programming tutorials, I guess. Let's go to main. Start getting rid of some of these. Okay, don't need you. That was an upload going off to YouTube for part 1. This is part 2, I guess. And we were doing things with this. Why has he got 2? Don't know the answer. Right. First things we've got to do today. Add to source control. Let's see if we can work this out. Hey! Blades is going to work out how to use his most hated software, Visual Studio 2019. I've been using it lately a bit more because people use it. Why on earth you would use this system, I will never understand. But Git will do. Initialize a local repository. Create a new GitHub. Oh, right. Sign in. Owner. Repository name. Description. Beginner to advanced tutorials. Beginner to advanced tutorials. Private. Actually, yes. Push your code to GitHub. All right, I think I need to sign into GitHub first. It's not going to let me do. Okay. That's a bit crap. I thought it would have done it. Anyway, GitHub, here we go. Okay. How do I sign in? Tools. Thank you. Twitch export is working. So do I have to sign in and create this or what? Because there's nothing here to sign in. There we go. How to log into GitHub or GitHub Enterprise. Team Explorer from the View menu. Yeah, well, that was obvious. Team Explorer. There we go. We could use Azure DevOps, really. Ooh. I wonder if it'll let me go now. Okay. Not coming up with an owner. Okay. I can't create. Create a GitHub repository. Name. It's going to be RPG equipment. Dev. Decided. Description. Beginner to advanced. Yes, folks, I'm learning how to do this as we go. Advanced. Tutor. Oh dear. I've got an extra A in there, have I? Yeah. Advanced tutorials. There we are. So we're learning how to use GitHub. This is very important. Local path will be somewhere on here. U directory, I think we did. Twitch programming, yes. RPG dev. Okay. Visual Studio, license none. No, MIT. Phrasal Play Sharp, private, yeah, I'm sorry for now. Okay, it's done something. It's just put me on my browser. Sign in, we're already signed in. Okay. Do I have to do a pull request? This won't let me do anything. So where is it? The repository was cloned successfully. Okay. I can't put anything in here. I can't add to source control. Okay. I'll get Visual Studio. Why not take a look at training? Yeah. Don't show this again. RPG, yeah, that's right. Project. Where is sync? Okay, we're on main. New branch. Branch name development. Based on main, create. Okay. All right. What do we need to do now? View the history. Okay. Looks good so far. Just got to read me thingy. Okay, so we need to place that into here. Fetch. In the background, okay, thank you. Looking semi-okay. Alright, where's it put it? Add. Interesting. What? Show all files. Huh? What? Why has this come up? It's in the wrong place. It's got to go in here? Okay. Rename. To temp. Okay, that's not going to help, is it? Github. $404. There we go. All right, we only have your local. One branch. All right. That's all Rolex. Okay. Open with code. Customize this folder. Not in here, it's in here. Thank you. Twitch programming. Let's try login. Okay, I'm already logged in. So why does it come here? What? Signed in as blah blah blah. There it is. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. Code. Copy. Git. Clone. Okay, ls. Fantastic. You're done. That one. Shift to there. Cut. Paste. Thank you. Whilst I'm here, though, can I run another command? Whilst I'm doing this setting, basically trying to set up more of the environment. Can I run from here a /deoxygen -G, for instance? No. Is it a capital D? Doxygen -G. Okay, it's not recognized. Try admin. All right. Admin window. Doxygen. Pardon? Object not found. Ooh. So we're not using Doxygen. Not on here, we're not anyway then. No. Okay. If I now open Visual Studio 2019, and I say, please, please, please remove from the list, and I now go into here, yeah. Okay, continue without code. File. Open project or solution. Takes me completely to the wrong place, as usual. Twitch programming. Does everybody else have this kind of problem? Visual Studio. Okay, we're on main. Perfect. It's picked everything up here. What do I want to add? I don't want to add a stash. We'll ignore this extension. Git ignore. No, keep that. Main, row, sln, project files. No, that's fine. Enter a message first. Right. Of tutorial. First commit. Tutorial. Okay, we'll commit all. We'll push that away. Are we done? Are we done? That was on main, wasn't it? We are done. We have everything we want. Fantastic. Manage branches. All right, there isn't one because we didn't make it. It only went local and we deleted that, did we? Okay. New branch. Development. See if that makes an area. Create. And cure. We're on development. Fantastic. And we're equal. Good. That's correct now. We now have a way of saving our files to the internet. This is very, very important, as we will need this. There is no longer removed a thing. All right, let's see what we've got here. All right, I've got everything I want here. Yeah, that's good. Let's have the coffee now. And you can't see a thing because it's already broken my Twitch stream. Big. Sorry. It's bloody stupid, this Twitch stream thing. Why do I bother with it? Automatic display. Next. Done. Go away, you're stupid. Right, so this is where I've got to. I've now got a solution. And I've got Git, so I don't know how much of that you got. Great, isn't it? Fantastic technology, Windows. Fantastic. I should use it more so it can cock up everything that I do. All right, we were showing main as big lettering. Yes, this is good. Right. Next on the agenda today is talking about output, because we need to be able to output information. And I was talking about this int arg and argv thingy. And I was saying that the 0 on this stores the information for how we started the program. So We could send that information through to the window, or we could have an extension in the window that would allow us to print that to a box on the screen. This is what I've been thinking about. How much of dev window do we want to have controlling? Well, it's going to control the input output. But what about the main loop for our system, our wonderful, what is it? What are we doing? Equipment system. Well, let's start looking now at, we can't look at that because that's given. You can view that on Q application. Let's check it out. Let's check it out first of all. And that's the best way of doing this. This is a complete guide, tutorial, lecture, whatever you want to call it. I want to do everything completely, so I'm going to literally be doing one line at a time and explaining how we're going to do things, how we're going to program in English rather than in a computer language. So under Qt, we have an assistant. A designer, a linguist. Okay. We'll try the assistant. Oh, that's nice. We've got an assistant. We've got contents. Oh, we're looking for Q application. Okay, index. Let's have a look. We just do a page up on here. Oh, that goes to the top, does it? Q. Q app. Ah, there it is, Q application. Right, let's see what we've got in here. Can we make this bigger? Zoom in. Is this big enough on screen now? Do we want it bigger? Doesn't tell me what percentage I'm on. That looks clear. Yeah, I think we're okay with that. So we're on Qt6, Qt widgets, C++ classes, Q application. And this is the reference documentation for it. Okay. Let's pop that wider for us. Let's give it a little bit more space here. Manages the graphical user interfaces, applications, control flow, and main settings. Okay. Control flow is your interrupts from the operating system. The main settings we can set. That's up to us. This control flow thing means it's taking the interrupts for the mouse, the colors, the theme, whatever. It's keyboard, sound. It'll integrate with the sound systems. Even OpenGL. and stuff like that goes, well, some of it goes through here, but I think we go through a different method for OpenGL. QMake must have Qt plus equals widgets in it for this to work, and it does. We also inherit the GUI application. So I've got everything in there as well as what we've got in here. The properties that we can set: drag distance, drag time, style, scrolling, keyboard, interval, click interval, flash time for the cursor, auto zip enabled. The SIP and entering widgets and accept keyboard input. This property only affects widgets with a WA input method enabled attribute, and is typically used to launch a virtual keyboard on devices which have very few or no keys. Yeah, okay. That's an interesting one. All right. Functions. It has a starter, which takes in the information from here, from these two pieces of information here. You can see argc, argv. It has a destructor, so it can destroy them. Yes, it takes ownership of those two items. But it also uses those two items to tell the operating system where to send its information. Style sheet, right, okay. QString. All right. So we can call this destructor, but we're not going to. Now that probably didn't help anyone. All it really means is it's handling the keyboard and the mouse for us in an interrupt loop. That's what it really means. All of that garbage. If you're an advanced programmer watching this, you'll probably understand that some of that garbage is important. For instance, we could put the destructor here after w.show. But I don't think that's a good idea. No, it'd be after return. You'd have to do it after the execution. So it would go below the return, which is useless because that will call it anyway. That calls the destructor there, that little bracket. Which brings us to the brackets. When we get to the end bracket of one of these two brackety thingies, then they're here for a very big reason. Everything that lives between the brackets dies on the end bracket. So that end bracket will kill everything in here. And that's important, including these two, because they're in here, and that will be dealt with when that end bracket calls the destructor for Q application. Dev window has the same thing. It has a destructor that will be called here. Or even at that point there, that might call them as well. But I'm sure it's the end bracket that destroys everything. That's why we need the last window to close before we do this return. So return a exec starts our application. Let's call it application, shall we? Okay. Starts our application, runs our application until the last window is closed, and at that point it will return out of here with an integer, which is a value hopefully of 0, or should be. Now, I didn't look up how to get Visual Studio to use the command prompt. And I never got a satisfactory, well, I don't know. Never got a satisfactory answer to this. So let's have a look and think about this. We've decided that Qt is now doing a hell of a lot in the background for us, and we don't need to program anything there. It's going to do a lot for us in that area, and it's not going to be a problem. It's just going to be simple, easy stuff. Good. Qt, well done. Big plus. +1. +1, I think they call it, don't they? So, VS 2019. How to execute build using a command prompt window. Develop a command prompt for Visual Studio. Run VS command prompt in terminal. Oh, how to build C++ for the command prompt window. That might be better. Compile and on the command prompt. Don't want to do that, do I? This really isn't helping. I know about this. It's very good, by the way. I would advise looking at that. How to build C++. To run from the command prompt window. And I know it's in the options. I really should use a command prompt. And then we can use just a standard text editor, I suppose. Oh, C plus C, yeah. This is going in the wrong direction, isn't it? I'm just going to have to look for it. Oh, hell. I was hoping not to have to do this. Because my eyesight isn't that good and I haven't got my glasses here, have I? I've got my glasses here. Oh, I have. Oh, one sec. I've got my glasses. Ironic, isn't it? I can't see the screen. Properly, anyway. Let's have a look now. Right, we've got output directory, intermediate, target, yeah, configuration. That's right. Latest. We've been fiddling around with these trying to get the right ones. We've got the correct ones in now. Target file. That would be good to go in the ignore file if it isn't already there. That's interesting. Okay, can we get the ignore file up in the background? We're not advanced, aren't we? Yeah. Okay. There's our ignore file. All right, let's see what we've got. User. All right, so it's ignoring debug and real. Doing that automatically. It's there. So I don't need to bother with that. Okay. There are no changes. It's just been an idiot. Right. Back to properties. Log file. Preferred build tool architecture. Now I'm going to do something naughty. I'm going to put it into 64-bit because this is a 64-bit machine. 32-bit would probably be better. And advanced programmers know why. Beginner programmers don't need to know why. I will probably cover that somewhere in these tutorials on wafflings. Use debug libraries. Yeah, I don't understand. Why is that a no on debug? We don't know. Okay, we'll leave it then. Enable Unity. No. Copy contents of out dir. No. Project references. No. Project references symbols. No. Copy C++ runtime to out dir. Now that's interesting. We could. No, don't do it because I want to show you the problems later on. Use of use standard Windows libraries. What else can we have? Oh, we can have static libraries and shared. I didn't know we could have static. I'm having static then. That's going to inflate the... Okay. Character set should be UTF. Unicode. Should be. It's not set. Okay, I don't know what it's going to use then. Whole program optimization. No, we want no optimizations, please. What kind of versions can we have here? All right, it's going to use 14.28, whatever it's got. Right, okay. Common language runtime support. You don't need any of those. Although we could support CLR. Common language runtime. No. Okay. .NET, no. And I'm not going anywhere near .NET unless somebody says, hey, I want to know about .NET. And I ain't going there. It's a mess. Enable managed incremental build. Managed incremental builds. Why can't we put yes there? Using MetaGen. Yeah. It does that anyway. It does incremental building, whether that's on or not. Okay, debugging. Command. Arguments. Working directory, correct. Make sure that does say project directory, by the way, otherwise you are going to have problems. Attach nothing. Debugger type is, yeah, environment. Yeah. Merge environment, yes, because there are two environments here. SQL, no, we're not using it. AMP, default accelerator, warp. We should really be using that one. But it's just cancel. It's giving us a different one. Okay, directories. You can alter these, by the way, and some people do instead of using include paths. So you can add a whole area of libraries. If you've got a special area on your machine that has libraries in, you might want to add it to the libraries directories here. It's a good way of doing things, but be careful with it. That's all I'm going to say. Project content, public include directories. There aren't any. That's interesting because I could use that for something else. Okay. All head files are public. Yeah. Public C++ module directories. What this is for is setting up multiple people working on the same project. Okay. Qt stuff we can really ignore. Core GUI widgets. There's something wrong here. Is that just a yes or a no? Yeah. Same here. Oh, it's an edit. Thank you. And release. Fine. Binaries, we know where they are. Yeah. Don't need any. Don't need any. QMake. Ah. There's something missing here. Let me find out what it is. Let's make a temp, or something. Qt. What am I missing? There is something missing. Qt creator. There we go. I'll have that one. Can I take these glasses off? I'll allow myself to work. I just want to press new. I want a console application. Choose temp. No, I'll just pull it console underscore temp. And I'll put it into lowercase. Why do I do this? Because it isn't going to be kept. Twitch programming. Yeah. Actually, browse. Back folder. Temp. Yeah. Okay. Next. 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 MSVC. Next. And finish. Right, what have I got wrong? There it is, it's a config. Where we've put C++, we've altered our C++. We should also have a console and then minus the app bundle. But that gives us a different main. Gives us a Q core application. So I'm thinking it's these two configs. Yeah. Let's have a look. It's not giving it here. Okay. It's not in any of these. This is interesting. It's not in any of those. This is all mock. Okay. All right, this does the UI. Yeah. Module dependencies, header unit. Why is there nothing in there? Again, this is just the same choices. Yes or no? Oh, that's /ZW, is it? Oh, right, I've just learnt something. Find out what ZW does. Okay, we might have to turn that on. But only on a release would you turn it on. Warning level 4, because I wanted all the errors. If I put yes there, we'll never be able to start the program. Yes, enable address sanitizer. No. Optimization. Ah, there it is. Okay, so we're going on any suitable. No, we won't do that then. Favor size over speed. No, we get what we're given. No. Not omitting anything. Fiber safe optimizations. What are you? Memory space optimization when using fibers and thread local storage access. Ooh. And whole program. That hasn't got the preprocessors in a one. Doesn't matter because I put them in somewhere else. Keep comments. That's an interesting one. Minimal rebuild isn't on. Yeah. Yeah. Runtime checks. Yeah. Multi-thread debug DLL. Yes, that's correct. Struct member alignment. Not check. I'm not messing with that because I wanted to get it wrong. It will hopefully. Enable security check. Don't care. No way you can enable security on anything. We can enable parallel code generation if we want. It depends on your computer though. So I'll leave that up to you. Enhanced instruction set. Oh, that's SIMD. Right, got you. Fine. That floating point model. This is important. This is something I do want to talk about. Computers do not count in floating point. They use ones and zeros. So what happens? We get a model of floating point in our compiler. Now that model we have got here set to precise. We can have strict or we can have fast. I would advise precise. Strict can give better results on speed. And that's the fastest, obviously, which ignores all the special things it does to enable a floating point to be accurate. So precise is okay. It's the slowest way of doing it, but hey ho. Enable floating point exceptions. You should, but I'm not going to. Hot patchable image, no. Spectre migration, no. Enable Intel JCC erratum mitigation. Guess that's if you are running on an Intel chip, which I am. And I haven't checked that chip to see whether it needs one or not. And of course, metadata. Now, it depends whether we've got that or not. I think that may be on servers. So I'm going to leave that alone. A language. Yes, Timothy. Yeah, we've got everything. Precompiled headers. Oh. We've got it set, but not using them. Are we making them? We're not. Good. Because I didn't want them. Okay, output files. Debug, yeah. Do we want the assembler output? That one's interesting. No, I'm not going to put it on. But now I've got assembler code that we can look at. That's good news. And I've got it with the program listing as well. Even better. Object file, yeah. Program database file name, yeah. XML documentation files, do we or not? No. Browse information. Enable browse information. What can we have? No, I'm not about it. Advanced. Compile as. We would have to use C++ code because I've included Q application. No, I'm not going to mess around with that one then, because I've already done some C++ already. I prefer C. That's where you disable your warnings. Forced include. Show includes. With compiler output. I've never switched on, but I'd be interested in that one. Generates JSON file with a list of all the files the compiler used for the compilation of the source. Okay. Useful paths, yes. No. We could actually say yes to that because we aren't really using them. Do not include default library names in .object files. Okay. Okay. And we haven't got any of those. That's okay. All options, command line. So what is the command line option for -app? We can actually change directly here. There's nothing in here for apps. So there is no reason for this not to open a window for us. Now that is it. Okay. There's nothing turning it off here. Output file. Yep. Show progress. Manage code. Okay. Version. Don't think we have a version. No. Nope. Yes. Ignore import library. Okay. Per user redirection. Yeah, well, that's again multi-users. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Force file output. Yep. Yep. Right. So, far as I can tell so far, we have an executable that we can run from this directory, or even the debug directory. Yeah. Okay, whatever. Do we have our exe here or not? Don't think we do. Oh, we have. Okay. So it can't find QTs. I have to go from here. Just open one of them. I don't think this works because it's not in the environment. So /debug /rpg equipment dev.exe. I'm getting nothing. No error, no nothing. Oh, that's great. So that doesn't work. God, this is a good system, isn't it? I'm getting a bit tired of going through these, but we have to. Output file, show progress version, enable, blah, 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 blah. Use library, yep, link status. Warning as errors. I think you should really. It also gets rid of a file. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, great. Delay, Can't do that. Okay, manifests. Yeah, we're in isolation, yeah. Execution level. Yeah. Okay. Specifies not to bypass user interface protection levels for other windows on it. Yeah, that looks a bit dodgy. For accessibility applications. That's naughty to have that, but anyway, debug. Info. Yeah. Yeah. Do we want a map file? No. System. Windows. We have a choice. Let's go with console. Keep reserve size, none. Commit size, reserve, commit. No, you can choose whatever you want. Microsoft, I don't care. Enable large addresses. You should already be doing that. Run an x64 terminal server. No. Swap run from CD. Network and driver. Apply that. Oh. I think we might have found it. Subsystems. The linker. There it is. That's all I wanted. All I wanted was this. Thank you. There we go. Yeah, press any key to continue. Thank you. So we can alter our program now. And the first command we are going to learn is, this is going to be interesting because everybody's going to say, well, you're going to have to include a library to do this. You don't. I don't think we do. Print F is our first command. We are wanting to print to that black window some information. And that information will be these two items here. So we're going to take argc equals, and it's an integer. The code for an integer is %d. Why is it %d? Yeah, I always ask that as well. Why d? Why not I? Anyway. And then we are going to have a colon. And then we are going to say argv, argv equals a character string. I'll put in a string then, which is s, %s. And then we'll just have a space. Oh no, we don't need one. Then we're going to use carriage new line. Yeah. So that means that backslash there means escape character, which means in English embedded command, new line. I'm going to detail this in a minute, don't worry. Comma, and then we have to give it the %d, which is argd, and then we have to give it argv. Its name is a pointer. Got a pointer in front of it. So argv is 0, isn't it? Are we allowed to do it that way? Or do I put in argc, which is the correct way of doing it? And a semicolon means end of line, end of command. Right, so we've now introduced a new command into our program. First of all, let's test it, see if it does anything. Or will it create an error? Save everything out. Some programming, everybody. Better be careful. There you go. argv equals null. That's because argc isn't the index for argv. The index is that minus 1, because computers start counting from 0. And this is what I was trying to explain about the problems that we are going to encounter. And it's the first caveat that I gave you last time. Computers count from 0. So yes, there is an argument it's telling us, but it's stored it in 0. As you saw, I nearly put a 0 in. But I wanted to show you this. And you're going to see this a lot. The -1 thing. Now let's see what it says. There you go. It's now giving us the information for it, which you can't see because this is in small writing. Oh, great. Right, I'll read it out to you. It says argc equals 1, then it says colon. So argc equals 1, colon. argv equals the string of that character string there, char star, that character string. That star's in the wrong place. It really should be on the left-hand side. Because it confuses the hell out of me when you put it on the right-hand side. And it says Twitch programming, RPG equipment dev, debug. RPG equipment dev.exe, which is the command it ran to make our window whole. Notice what happens to our window. Is that correct? That's interesting, but is it correct? There's a lot more problems with these two windows, but because you can't see the other problems, doesn't mean they aren't there. Yeah, Windows has done something strange. So hold on a minute, let's put up another window. We've got you. We've got you. What's this one? Don't need you anymore. We found it. Thank you. It was a subsystem. Qt Assistant. Okay, doesn't. There it is. The white at the top. Blue, white, blue, grey, blue. There you go. Can you now see what it's doing? Blue, white, blue, blue. Got it? White, white, and then the colour goes. Oh, we've got our colouring wrong. I'm going to keep Qt Assistant open. I'm going to make it invaluable. So we can now print stuff out. But we don't want to print it out here. We want to print it out in here. Well, let's start looking at that. Let's start looking at this window. We've gone through enough on Q application, and I've introduced you to Printf. Wow. Which does the amazing thing of, well, what's the code for it? Go to definition. Printf. Const string, yep. Format, yep. Okay. Else it does this. And it's just doing arg lists. Yeah. Out to standard out. There we go. So there you go. That's the actual command that we are running there on line 960 of this. Where are we? Doesn't tell us. Doesn't tell us which file. Ah, there you go. stdio.h, which is standard input output header file. So in here, we are going to be running that command. So what we can do is actually go to the definition. And there it is. This it? Yeah. Where's its oh well, that is its definition, is it? Is that embedded somewhere? I know there's no stdio. Yes, there is. It's a library containing that command. Standard out, format, and arg list. There you go. Get rid of that. So that's printf for you. What it means is print function. It prints out whatever information in the format you give. That's the format. That's the information. I've already spotted that there's this -1 business going on. Don't be scared. If you start seeing -1s in somebody's program, you know now that it's because of that. Computers count from 0. That's all it is. They are making sure, the programmer is making sure that we start from 0, because the count here in human terms starts from 1, as we saw. One argument is passed in, and it is stored in 0. Yeah, clever, huh? Confused the hell out of me for a while. How do I get to know what's in here? That's how you get to know what's in here. Let's put this in. Standard library. And it was stdio.h. Print function. Print function. And we now know that it has a format. And arguments, arg values, argument values, comma, close semicolon. Well, just close. A simple print function to the std : out. That's standard output stream, i.e. the console, because we created one. Okay. Right, so that's that noted. So this is for beginners and advanced. So you advanced boys out there, just remember, you see that -1 on an argument. Remember, these are just variable names. These can be changed to anything you want. The only thing you can't change is these two here. And I certainly wouldn't change those two there either. So I've used what they've given. Okay? To show you how to use the arguments given. I would always keep these names as they are. It means argument passed in, actually. Arg C. Let's do it properly. argc equals argument. Sorry. The number of arguments passed in from the command line. Now you know there's always one. One is one line. Minimum 1. There is always something passed in. Always. Our star arg v is the list of arguments passed in stored as list of argument values passed in, stored as argv and number index. Okay. Note index equals argc minus 1 because computers count from 0. Where humans don't have a 0. So if something is passed in, you can't call it 0. It's 1. One argument has been passed in. So for humans, that's correct. For computers, that's correct. Think about that statement. Who are you programming for, the computer or the human? That's going to be one of your choices to make when programming. Do I program my code for the computer to understand or for the human to understand? And if you do it for the human to understand, you come out with statements looking like a little messy, I think. So whoever invented this language didn't think this through. The reason why this is 1, by the way, not 0, is because it has that instruction. Well, of course, everybody then is going to ignore that instruction. And they are going to say, if argc is greater than 1, list out argv's. Do a list of argv's from 1 to wherever. The 0 is the useless one. Or maybe it's useless. Maybe you want to use it. I don't know. You might want to use it. So we have dipped our toe. There we go. So this is tutorial 2. Dipping our toe into programming, which we've just done. That's your first program, by the way. You've now written it properly, and it does something, and it's informative, and it's instructive. The other thing I would advise you to do is the next line, which I'm going to put in here. And I'm just going to call it testing. And I'm going to have a printf. And I'm going to do something a little unusual. I'm going to ask the computer. We're on the next line, by the way, because we've got that next line in there. So we're at the beginning of the next line. I'm going to ask the computer what is true and what is false. So we're going to have true equals, and it will be a number because computers use numbers. %d. Come on. False equals, and it's going to be a number, %d. So an integer. And then we're going to use our escape character for a new line. And we are going to type in true, turns a different color, and false, which is why I'm doing it. That's our next command that I have to explain. Because true, I can hover over it. I say, computer, hover over it. Now, why isn't it telling me what it is? See, comes up with argc. Tells you what argv is. Tells you what that is. Tells you what that is. Hover over true and false. It doesn't tell you. Okay, oh, sorry. Application, there you go. Hover over it, it's got information. Hover over that, it's got information, it's a class. I haven't talked about yet. Hover over that, it's a class. That's the colour for classes. What's that the colour for? Well, that colour is blue. Let's hover over blue. Oh. Oh. It doesn't tell us what these are. It'll tell us what that is, but it won't tell us what that is. Okay. So, highlight true, right click, peak definition. Hash defined true, emit warning C4005. The C++ standard library forbids macroizing the keyword true. Enable warning C4005 to find the forbidden define. And that's if defined true. That's not what I asked for. What does true equal then? That's just saying that we're not allowed to make a macro out of the word true. So it must be hidden in whatever library this is, xkeycheck.h. It isn't, but that's what it looks like. So what is it? Let's run the program and find out. There you go. True equals 1. False equals 0. Well, isn't that the wrong way round? Things are false until true. So I've got these two the wrong way round. So that's the first thing I'm going to correct. Okay. As a reminder to me, I've got them the wrong way round. And we'll use another macro as well. And it's going to be tab. So, backspace T. Or tab. So it'll tab indent it from the left-hand side because it was horrible. It looked horrible. And we have to change these around. And this one, please. Done. Run the program. There we go. This is what I wanted to explain. So I've now got false equals 0, true equals 1. You can see that it's tabbed in by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 characters. So a tab equals 8 blank. So now you know what a tab is. False. So everything on a computer is false on a 0. But if they go to 1, they are true. That's important because remember the other caveat? That the computers can only add or compare two numbers in binary, 0 or 1. Computer logic was developed using AND gates only. That's not true, but it's a close approximation. So we know what an AND gate looked like, didn't we, from the last one? 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. So both of them have to be true for an AND gate to say true. Otherwise, they are all false on the comparison. So this is where we're getting our binary from. This is our binary. This is in the computer language that we're using. So that means that things that don't help us must be the computer language that we're using. We should know this computer language. Look of how much we've used. Used 1, 2, 3. No, we'll call that just 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 of the language commands. And these two aren't even in the original language. These have been added for us. Yeah. Which is why it defines that error. Because people used to have a habit of making those two into macros so they could use them in the program. It was a habit. And you can make macros easy. You just use hash marks, which I haven't really explained. Hash means preprocessor. Preprocessor directive. It's not part of the language. It means include that header file. And that's an instruction to the preprocessor. So the preprocessor gets all the code together before it processes the code and compiles it. That's what that does. It also does all your hash includes, all your hash defines, as we saw on all these hash defines. These are all preprocessor commands. These are commands for your compiler. We can add our own, of course, if we want our compiler to do certain things. Right, we're happy with everything now, and we've altered our ideas. Highlighted instructions. Which are our language. C language instruction set. Okay, if you want to look that up on Google, you can do so, but there is a C language instruction set. I don't know if it includes false and true now or not. That's interesting. Not quite sure. It might do on the wiki. I'm not looking at it. I've seen it before. There's an awful lot to look through. All 15 commands. Yeah, massive language. Very hard to learn. No. It's easy to learn. It's hard to master. That's better. That's better. C has a lot of things that they don't teach you in there, which is a shame. If you know how a computer works, it's bloody easy. If you don't know how a computer works, you're going to have problems. I've told you how a computer works now, so it should be easy for you. We've now met a few. We've met the character, we've met the integer, and we've met true and false. That's the 4 commands we've done. We may use, or normally people would use a 5th command as well, which is if. And that's your comparison thingy. And that's where you get into, well, Boolean logic, really. And, or, and equal to. Not equal to, equal to. Equal to and not equal to, less than, greater than. Those are the usual kind of things. There we go. Anything else we can add here before we hit the C++ side? This is all C. From that line there to that line there, that is all C language. What is C++ then? Well, it's an extended version of C that holds things called classes and objects. So, QApplication is an object. I know that because I've dealt with it before. I know what it does. I'm happy with it. This is a class and an object. So shall we go and have a look at it? Is it time to enter the dev window? I think it is. I think we've done enough on main. Let's save that out as introduction to main complete. So this is tutorial 2. Introduction to main has now been completed. I think I've done a complete overview of it. There's things I've left out, but all the information I've given you is as true can be from the simplistic point of view. Yeah, there's enough instructions and stuff. Create one or more output boxes to display information. Okay, we want the dev window for that. Let's commit. Push. Okay, everything's gone now. Right. We don't need to see the debug directory. We want dev window. Now, let's clear. There are 2 files in C++ for every single item. Dev window is got 3 because it's got is not under source control. Not checked out. Do you want to check out the file before opening it? Yes. Thank you. How about that was a bit strange. So this is what the UI is. This is a way of just making yourself a UI. Okay. Let's leave it up there for now. There we go. That's better. So that's what it'll look like on screen. Okay, just make sure everything's saved out. So that's the third one. H. Header file. This is preprocessor hash include thingy. Oh, Q main window we're using, are we? All right. I never. So it's a Q main window. Well, that's the class. This is a class, as it says, and it's got an opening brace and a closing brace. Everything within that class lives until that class does that and hits that. This class will stay alive until that runs, and then the class will be destroyed. And that's in the public, so we can destroy it at any time. And in the private area, we've got our UI, which is private to this class. And this class is the only thing that can see it or adjust it. So this UI thing that we've got belongs inside this class. We cannot alter it from anywhere else in our program. Or can we? It's private. So only this dev window can access it. But what can we do about that? Well, this is a queue object, which is an object, by the way. It's not been included here as a queue object because queue object is included within queue main window. So it's an include that we do have. We have a namespace. I don't like the way it's done it, but there we go. It's done it. If you're using Qt Creator, you do not need that line. You do not need that line. It's because we're in this environment. QObject is the same in this environment, but cocks up IntelliSense. Be careful with that. There are two types of classes. There is this type, and there is, which is private by default, and there is the other type, which is public by default. What's the other type called? I don't like classes at all. Let's have a look at my common. Struct. So in a struct, that is a class. It's also a type definition, but that's beside the point. It's also a class, but it's public. So you can access these publicly. Anybody can access these. Whereas on this one, it's by default private. So that QObject is private with all that information in it. And that is private. You can do that. And it means exactly the same thing. And it saves you doing that. Better now. As it's private by default. So that is the difference between a class and a struct. There's no other difference at all. Zero difference. You can do with a struct what you can do with a class. You can do with a class what you can do with a struct. Why use classes? Because you can make objects out of them. And they need this private area to be able to operate on data. So, what is a class? What is a good way of defining a class? A class is private by default, which means only it can see its contents. Nobody else can. No other part of your program will be able to see its contents. So unless you make them public. Let's see then. This, that should be a comma. This is a collection of functions that operate on data given to / within, and this is getting too long. on data given to or within the class. Okay, so that's all it is. Collection of functions, which we are going to title dev window : Okay, we can construct and destruct. There are 3 others, and I can't remember them. Automatic ones that you should have, or you have to have for each class. And struct, but they're automatic on structs and we don't care about them. The other 3, you should have, if you've got the destructor, you should have the other one. Are we going to use the rule of 3? Let's see what information we've got on classes, shall we? Wiki C++ class. Okay. Here's all the information on it. Oh god, that's way too much information. There we go, that's better. A class in C++ is a user-defined type or data structure declared with the keyword class. It's in blue. Keywords, that's what they're called. And programming language is called keywords. Right. So we've used quite a few more keywords now. But these are C++ ones, by the way, not C. So don't get confused. This is a C++ thing. Differences between structures and classes in C++, there aren't any differences except one's private and one's public. Right, next. And governed by the 3 access specifiers: private, protected, or public. We haven't used protected. I've taken private out. Protected means its children can have child classes from this class. Can access. No others can access. You can restrict. It's the ways that it restricts access. Of the data it holds. Not necessarily the functions, although you can have private functions for internal usage by the class only. And that is useful, by the way. Private members are not accessible outside the class. They can be accessed only through methods of the class. Public members form an interface to the class and are accessible outside the class. There we go. And then it goes into a load of gobbledygook. Plain old data structure classes. Yeah. So it shows you the difference here. That is the same as that. That's a struct, that's a class, they're both the same thing. Members inheritance. We are doing inheritance, so I'll read it out. We are inheriting from, there's a colon, inheriting from public QMain window. C++ compilers implement single inheritance by concatenation of the parent class fields with the child class fields. So the parent class here is QMain window. And we will add onto the QMain window whatever we write in dev window. It will concatenate. So whatever we put in dev window will be added to whatever is in QMain window. So we are allowed to use any public or protected items from QMain window within our structures, within our functions and data. Okay, so that's a good thing. You might want to then look up QMain window and see what we've got available. Well, I'm not going to do that because there's a lot, but I think I've covered everything now. So we now know that we have inherited. So this class is a child of Q. I'll write it in English. Main, yeah. Window. And inherits all its functions and data. Caveat. We can only access public and protected items from the parent QMain window. And there we go. That's your caveat. So now we know how to use it. What's QObject? It's a macro. It means nothing. That's a macro. Macros come up in this purplish type of thing. And if you hover over them, it'll show you what the macro is. And it's a hash define, so it's a macro. Hash define, macros. Because that's what you used to do. Macro, true equals, hash define true, hash define false. Back in the 80s when I was programming. Well, thank you, Muppet, for your sneezing. How are we doing out there, listeners? Are we keeping up with me? Am I going too basic? Am I going into this too far? I'm about to look up QMain window. Let's have a look. Oh, we're only in the L's. Here we go. All the metadata, by the way, for QObject is in here. Just look up QObject if you need to. I'm not going to bother. In fact, I'm going to go totally ignore it. What it does is it helps QApplication, which we've got in main, transfer information from there into this. It's like an in-between storage path to come in here. So Qt will take care of it. I'm going to ignore it. Q main window. Here we go. Found it. Okay. And there's a load of it. Great. So contents: public, properties, public functions, public slots, signals. Slots and signals are the QObject-y thingy, or the interrupts. So we're going to be using those, by the way, slots and signals, very, very shortly for our buttons. So that when we click the button, the operating system will be able to tell our program, hey, you've just clicked here on the screen in your window. And we will then say, oh, thank you, and we'll go to the right place. And that will be a slot that will receive a signal from QApplication. Whether it uses QObject or not, I don't care. But there are things we can do with QObject which are mind-blowing, so I'm not going there. Re-implemented protected functions, so we can re-implement those. Detailed description. There you go. Main window framework, central widgets. It uses widgets. A widget is a graphical thing that you place on. These are widgets. This whole window's a widget. The fact that it's got a search bar is a widget. The fact that it's got a main output area is a widget. And you can dock your widgets. You can have your toolbars, your status bar and your menu bar. You can treat them all differently. You can do anything you want with it, really. Creating the main window components, how to make them, the commands. Creating toolbars. Well, we're not going to be using that lot because we're going to ask it to do it for us. Because I'm a lazy git. Oh, things you do need to know about are, you might want to look up under Q main window are things like animated docs, if you want to animate them. They have animated properties. Nested tabbed, force tabbed, vertical tabbed, grouped dragging of groups of widgets. So there's lots and lots of things we can do within here. Lots and lots of settings and weirdo stuff, which we'll look at if we need to. Right. I've had a quick look at main window. We now understand it's got a hell of a lot of stuff in there and a lot of settings that we can use to make our main window great, groovy and fantastic. But I'm going to use the UI to do that for us. So, signals and slots I've mentioned. Oh, good. Now do them. Let's go over to what? It's not under source control. Yes, it is. It better have be, because I put it under source control. That means that Visual Studio has no idea what it's doing. That's good news. Right, so I want a push button. Let's have a push button. Push button. Buttons. That was easy. We should really... I'm not doing layouts yet. We'll do the layouts later. But you have to have something on here for a layout to be allowed in the first place. So we'll have a push button. We'll put it there. Wow, that was a good choice. Isn't that brilliant? If we now save and run our program, guess what? We've got a push button. Guess what? It says push button and we can click on it. It does actually turn a different color when clicked on. It goes to a very, very light blue. Right. Still hate that. Maybe we should fix it. There you go. That's how you add a push button to your window. Very complicated, isn't it? So where's the code? Well, it's in here. It's not in here. This will deal with what we do with the push button. So we have a push button. It says push button on it. What happens? Oh, I can change the name. Double click on it. Wow. Change the name of our push button. What can we call it? Test. Push for test. Oh, our push button isn't big enough. Okay, we've got some little dots on it. Oh, we can drag it. Okay, let's drag it. Push for test. There we go. Middle. No, that's not middle. Middle-ish. There we go. Push for test. Over here, push button. Double click on it. I'm going to call it test button with a capital T. It's an item. Capital T or lowercase t matters. It's something that we're going to use, so I'm going to capitalize it. Test. Capital T, test. Underscore button I use underscores. There we go. That changes nothing, you might think, but we have just changed it to a test button. The central widget is the background. Now, I was a bit annoyed about when we're not looking at this, it goes white. And that light blue isn't really fantastic. So click on the background, palette, quick. Yeah, it's here. Active, inactive. So go to inactive. We've got that. Looks awful. How do we do inactive colours? It's got this grey in it and this light blue in it. Show details. Inactive. That's better. So our background goes from a blue to this horrible grey white stuff. Active dark blue. Text. Okay, we'll find out what happens with that later. Button text is the bottom one. Highlight. Highlighted text. Doesn't really help as much, does it? Where's background? Which one of these blues is a background? I think it's supposed to be that one. A window. That might do it. Alright, done it from there, shall we? Let's just check it out. Just saved it. And it still goes white. You are an annoying computer. No ideas why the palette for the rear, even when I set it here. Window. Base. Base is white. It's saying it's got that white bit there. From views. Okay. I'll ignore it. I'm not messing around with this too much. I just wanted the push button. And we're giving it a name. Test button. So our push button, we are going to... We're not promoting it. We could. We could. We could send our information somewhere else, but that means writing more C++ files. And I'm not prepared to do that, because that will just make it harder to talk about what we're doing. Okay. I'll get rid of that. Now, this button, we can promote to. Morph into. Tool button. Change tool to. Look at test button here, please. The same in it. Size constraints, yeah. Promote to. What would we promote it to? Send to back. Bring forward. Not what I was expecting. Why would I need... It's a Q push button. Not doing the right things. I can remember now why I didn't use this system. I didn't use Visual Studio for doing this. It doesn't seem to respond properly. I'm not sure that that's doing the right thing. We still got it in here. Would you like to configure Android options? This will ensure Android kits can be usable and blah, blah, blah. Option device Android. Okay. Do not show again. Okay. Just run this. Don't run it. Just let's have a look at this. See, this gives a better view. There you go. Go to slot. If I come back to here, this is interesting. Double click on that, and I highlight the button, and then I write. It hasn't got it. There's no go to slot. So you can't do it from here. So the Qt designer that is offered for use within here is not correct unless it's up here. So you highlight test button. What we got up here? Edit tab order. Buddies? No, it's not a buddies. Edit signals and slots. Do I have to pull it down or? No, this is rubbish. Okay, test button, Q push button, clicked. Clicked bool. We've got two options. Ah, that's better. Show signals and slots inherited from Q widget. So this will give us a lot. All right, so what do we need here? Is it just update? I don't like this way of doing it. This is horrible. Okay. We won't do it that way then. Here we go. Here, I can actually say, go to slot. And then it just gives me clicked and the different things that we can do. I can do clicked bool or clicked. That's interesting. Which do we want to have a bool? But do we want the information in bool format or not? No, we'll just have clicked. Okay. And look what's happened. I didn't write that. And why doesn't this have my notes in it? Do not save. Now it has my notes. No window.h. Okay. Oh, right, it's come up here. Right, it gave me the wrong file. Undo. Control Z. That is correct now. All right, that's in the CPP. Okay. And in the header file, yeah, this is what we're looking at before, so better save these two out. Save all. All right, you're in a different system. Okay. Look what's happened here. It's made a mess. It's now added private slots. Remember us mentioning that those interrupts, signals and slots? Well, that button sends a signal, which we are going to intercept using this on test button clicked. If we have a look in, oh no, we don't want to look in there yet. So now, it's here. Actually, no. We can detect the mouse click on our test button. There we go, that'll do. So it comes up with this private slots thing. Now this is Qt. Private slots is Qt. It's not C++, it's not C, it's Qt. QObject is Qt, it's not C++. So these things are in like a purpley thing. They're all Qt things. I'm not sure whether that's going to be correct all the way through, but hey-ho. Right. Let's start noting up what this does. Construct the window. And one below it is obvious. Destruct the window. It's actually called constructor and destructor. Construct means make. Destruct means delete. There you go. The window. Anything else that's on here that we haven't mentioned yet? There we go. Class are private. Hold on. By default. So this is all private stuff here. QObject is something we're going to ignore. A Qt controlled macro system, which we are ignoring. And this here is our GUI, as our Windows GUI data file. That just holds all the data necessary. We can look at it if you want. Can we look at it in this one? Nope, we can't. We'd have to go back to, but we can look at it. You can look at it. It's XML. So it's up to you. If you know XML or want to know XML, there's quite a few handy things in there to show you how XML can be used. But right now, I don't want to know anything about XML. It's a language which, well, yes, does things, stores data, handles data well, transfers data. It's all good stuff. All right, let's see where we're up to now. I think we've dealt with everything here. We've now got a button that clicks. So let's try our button out. We've got a printf statement. So let's go over to the last file, which is this. I knew it didn't have a lot in it. So the only thing that we're bothered about here to start off with is our test button. Okay. So when clicked, output a message to the console. std : out, i.e. the console. All right. So here we go. Printf. The simplest form of printf. We are going to have a tab to get it off the side of the screen. You have clicked. Oh, that's the wrong backslash. There's two. That one. Thank you. Comes up in different colours. You have clicked the test button. This is another piece of massive programming done by me today. There you go. Another function. I haven't shown how to do functions, have I? And the rules for functions, so we'll do that after this. Oops, don't put it inside, put it outside. You might notice there's no comma and information. Don't need any. That's the format I want. So there's no comma needed. There's no variable names or things being placed in here, %Ds or %Ss. I just want it to print out, you have clicked the test button. I can count how many times you clicked it if you want, and then we can put an argument in. But no, let's not do that. Let's see what happens. Let's make sure something does happen. It goes white. So false 0, true 1. Click. You have clicked the test button. Click. Oh, we didn't put \n at the end. We've goofed again. I forever forget that. My bad. \, new line. There we go. That's the push button done. Click, 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 click. And you can see you have clicked the button. Yeah. Click, 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 click. There you go. Lovely. Fantastic program. Now, maybe that's not what I want to do. Hey. Maybe that's not what we want to do. So what we'll have to do is... Don't need you. We'll have to add something else. Yeah, I think we're going to have to add something else. I may as well, I can keep Qt Creator open, I suppose, but it'll interfere with Microsoft. I do. Okay. Right, so we've got push for test. What we need next is an output box of some kind. Don't want layouts. So we've done buttons. Item views, model-based. Item widgets. List tree table. I think table's going a bit too complicated. What we want, we just want items. Actually, that might come in useful later. Group box, scroll area. A toolbox with tabs. A frame. Widget. And a QAX widget, yeah. Don't need those. That's input for text going in. Scroll bars. Okay. A label. Oh, we can use that. Text browser. I now want to use this LCD number thing at some time. And we might want to use OpenGL at some time. Is that available to us? Oh, it's white. Black background on this, don't I? Palette. Inherited. Quick. To black. Yeah, that's okay. A bit much on the black though, isn't it? I could make it purple. Red. Already using the blue. Purple. Looks a bit garish. Oh. No, we'll leave it as black. Whatever. I'm not really that bothered. Right, we can resize this. We can label it. So this is our text browser. Our label. Go to black. Why isn't it changing anything? Text label. I'll just call it a text box. Yeah, I'll do. File, save. Just run that. Well, it hasn't done what I've asked. But it's good enough. Right, okay. Close window. Okay. Close window. Close window. All right, so this, go to slot. What can we do? We don't need to do anything. We don't even need to go to slot. We don't need to interrupt it. Okay. So what is this? This is our text box. Label. Oh, that's text box label. Text box label. There we go. And text box. Okay, it's a Q text browser. I'm interested in what that can do, actually. I think we can save that out now. I'm not messing around too much with all of this stuff here. So file, save all. Exit, so we're not blocking. We haven't changed anything here. Come out of those. Right, we're okay there. We should be able to run it. There we go. We've got our text box and a label. Push button. Yep, click the button. Right. Good. It's looking good. Now, if we click this button, you have clicked the text button. I don't want it there. I want it in our window. So what will a text thingy accept? So now, this is awkward because we've got Qt involved, haven't we? All right. Text box in our window. How are we going to do that? Well, we don't know. We have no idea. But what we do know from this screen is that that text box is the QText browser. Right, okay. Which is Qt. MNOPQRST. I can't remember all of Qt. Oh, for God's sake, Qt gets in the way. Okay. Here we go. That's that text table I was looking at. We can have a text stream. That's interesting. Let me just double click on that a minute. Convenient for reading and writing text. Q byte array or a Q string. Read and write words, lines and numbers for generating text. So what's the difference between that and what we're doing? There's a lot of text stuff. This gives you a ton. You've lost me. No, don't want any of this. You've lost me again. QText browser. So many of this. It's unbelievable. So we now know there is QText stream, but I've gone past. Okay. Provides a rich text browser with hypertext navigation. More. This class extends from QText edit, so it's an editor. In read-only mode. Right, so you can actually turn it into an editor using the properties of QText edit if you want to. Adding some navigational functionality so that users can follow links in hypertext documents. Okay. With an editable rich text editor, use QTextEdit. If you want a text browser without hypertext navigation, use QTextEdit and use QTextEdit set read only. Disable editing. To use QLabel, yeah. I've used QLabel. That's interesting. Right. How do we get it to accept? Click on more. Contents of, yeah, set HTML, set plain text. Also implements set source, making it possible to use a named document as the source. That's nice. Yeah, okay. In the document factory for that one. Okay. Read only, QString list. Okay. URLs. Source. Right, so it's saying use QText. Set plain text. QTextEdit set plain text. Okay. Well, we can do that from inside the window itself. We don't need to come outside the window to do that. Looking like set plain text, which takes a QString. I thought you'd say that, you basket. Okay. That's what I wanted to know. Because we're using Qt, we'll have to use a QString. So QString, not a char star. It is a char star, but it's a special one. It's a QString. Be warned. QString, what we're going to call it, message. Let's be inventive. Let's use English. Message equals. Semicolon. That can now be replaced by our message, which is a %s. Problem is, this is in Qt and this is in C. And it's a small s, not a capital. So it will be message dot C underscore str. Why can't we do that? That's in string. How do we convert message to a C string? Do I need to? Let's test it out. I would have thought so. As you saw, you can put dot to extend. You can also put an arrow. But there's no, if there's a star in front of that, you put an arrow. An arrow is minus greater than. There's nothing there because we haven't done it that way. If I had put a star in front of that to make an address where you place a message in memory, then that would have been an arrow thingy. And as you can see, it all comes up. Just read through these quickly. Is it to? T-O, M-N-O, S2. To std string. There it is. So I found it by accident. So it will be a dot to extend the functionality of the message to S standard string, and that's a function. There we go. I think that's now correct. We'll try it without first, as an experiment. That is what you should do. For beginners, do this all the time. Try experiments. Putting a star in front of that makes that in an address in which you can place your data, whereas message equals is a variable name which equals your data. So yes, there's two ways of looking at it. Very complicated ways of looking at it. So let's try that. It should come up with an error. There we went. There you go. You can see how it's cocking everything up because we're using Qt message and we're putting it into a C specification string. And if anybody was quick to notice, there was an output error list and it didn't come up. There you go. Class std enable if false void has no member type. It starts coming up with all of these kind of weirdo thingies. 242 errors we've just caused with it. And it's now come up with squigglies. Good. Object passed as parameter 2 when a string is required in call to printf. Actual type class QString. So we'll put our dot to string, to standard string, which is what these should take. And we'll try again. Is it still cocking up? It's not standard string then. Is that another dot? It is. Do I have to go that far to put it into C? To standard string. Can't we just put dot C string straight away? Is what I was trying to do in the first place. No, you can't. Alright, that's fine. We've got a very complicated command going on here. Will it work now? The errors went away. And there you go. But look what's happening now. I'm getting extra tabs. I'm getting extra lines. So the conversion to C string has altered our data. So one of the things we have to do is take off the extra line by taking that off. And it looks like we're being tabbed. So I'll take you out. Now we try it. That's it. That's what we had before. That's perfect. So there's a lesson learnt. You cannot convert directly from QString to a C string, printf. You have to go through a standard string, which is a std : string, which is a different header file altogether, and then through that into the functionality of the C string, because that holds that function. Clever. So you can pass things through functions of functions. That's the first thing you've got to learn. And that's the libraries that are given to you. You should create your own in English. You should never use what you're given, which is what I'm doing here. To be quite honest with you, you should create your own. I'll be honest. It will take the complexity straight out of this, and everything will be hunky-dory. So, now we want to place that message in our box. And our box is in our UI. And if I remember rightly, that is a memory location. Let me just check that it is. Yeah, there's a star there. That star there denotes that that is a memory location, which is storing our UI data. So that's what I'll have to access. So it's UI, and it's an arrow because it's a memory address. Central widget menu bar, blah, blah, blah. Now we have to look for our, there's our test button. All we've got. Where's all our other stuff? It's not there. It is, it's in central widget. Is that now a dot? Don't know. It was test. No, it's not. How do we get there? How do we find it? It's central widget and it's text box. Central widget dot text underscore capital T. Text box. And it's not showing up. And it is a dot. It is a part of the data. So why isn't it showing up? We don't have access to text browser, do we? I find it weird that we've got access to a queue push button. That's a signal in a slot. This is not a signal or a slot, so I'm thinking about this wrongly. Our text box here is a queue text browser. Queue text browser. Not telling me much here. Properties. Modified, read only, all the rest of it. Public. It doesn't say to include it. That's interesting. It's a child of something else. Well, that's interesting. Even the manual doesn't tell you what to do. So what the actual answer is here. Hash include. And it's Q text browser. Okay. Don't like it having all those dots everywhere, but anyway, doesn't matter. It just means they're expandable. Will that give us any help here? What is central widget? A status text button, text box. Here. It's public. And what is it? Qtext browser star. So it's a memory address for the text box. We want set, don't we? Set autofill background. Right. Background, base size, margins. Oh, that's interesting. We could do margins. Set whatever it told us to do. Can't even remember now. Set read only. Yeah, I've got that. Set plain text. Yeah, I would have really. Okay, set plain text. There it is. That is a function. It went orange. Open brackets. It takes a Q string and text, which will be open \t close plus message don't like it. Message. That'll do. I don't know if I have to add that back into the message. We should really. So cut them out of there. Put them in there. Because that's how I would format the messages in a bigger program. Put that back into there. Okay. Let's yes, I know what I've done. That's okay. Run and see what happens. Okay. Push our button in a minute. Thank you. Okay, so it will come up multiple times here. Every time I click it, every time we're clicking it here, it's clearing the text box and putting it back in. Our text box is not big enough. Okay. We can fix that. you go. But you'll only see it go on the screen once, or you should do. So our message has come up, but it is literally only a message. Whereas here, this will act completely differently. So you would have to save the messages in a stack. You would have to have a stack of messages to place into your text box if you wanted this to become like a continuous act. Well, act like the command line acts. You can do that if you want, or you could just leave this as it is. Well, that's how we get our message out to our text box, which I said we were going to do today. And I win. We did it. Right. Okay, go back to main. I haven't even had a cup of coffee yet. To create one or more output boxes to display information. Well, we've done that. Find a way to represent an item within the memory, within the computer's memory. We need a way to do that. That's next. Well, let's just finish off what we've got here. How are we doing? Oh, it's 5 o'clock. I am running out of time. Yes, you are looking at me in a funny way, Muppet, because he knows it's his tea time. Anybody want me to explain anything? No, there's no questions coming up, which is interesting. We've done all that, and we've done a test of our clicking of buttons. So that file's okay. I've ignored part of this other file. Because I've already said that that's a destructor. It just deletes the UI. Tidy up any data that we stored in memory. Usually by using the new command. That's what the main thing you would do in there. And you can do other checks and things to make sure everything's okay as you exit your window. But everything when you're exiting the window should come in here. And this delete UI is just being polite. It's just saying, okay, we're going to exit the window. I've got this UI. It's private. And we used new on it. We didn't use new on it. Yes, we did. But where? There. UI equals a new UI dev window. UI setup this. That means set up the UI to be a child process of dev window. This. That's what that means. So we've got new, this, delete has now come in, which goes with every new should usually have a delete. Please, if you're doing C++, it's a good rule to go with. Do not transfer ownership of your items to have a new. You should have them as private. Or in my case, I just slapped them into global and let the operating system deal with it half the time. Yes. So we now have 2 variations on how to send our message. Isn't that nice? Our UI text box, set plain text, message. It's nearly English. That's a surprise. It's more English than that one. User interface text box, set plain text message. Yeah, I think that's more like English. Are you saying it's your tea time? Yeah. Have we got any viewers asking for anything? No. So tea time it is. I would like to thank you all. In the next episode, we will head on into deciding or finding a way to represent an item within the computer's memory. So, as far as I'm concerned, we have no, not that one. Test a button sends message to text box in the UI. User interface, that stands for. I'll put it in full interface. Anything else I want to put in here? End of part 2. I won't add anything else. You'll know that I won't add anything else because I don't. All done on screen. Done. Alright, everything's gone as it. Looks like it. Okay, that's on the development branch. Main branch is now solidly set to the first commit, tutorial 1. Okay. Right, I'm done with that. We've got plenty of notes everywhere to help us out, explain things. And that leaves us on that. So find a way to represent an item within the computer's memory. An item of equipment. Again, I need to put that like that. There we go. Lovely. Done. We're there. That was not as bad as I thought it would be on the explanation side. It was easier than expected. So I did have this up for just information purposes for myself. Don't need that anymore. Okay. Don't need that wiki anymore. Export went through. Good. I've got it all stored on YouTube. And yeah, that's everything. So, bye for now. Take care. And if possible, during these harder times, have fun. Now where's that button? There it is.